The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The New York Jets were on the practice field today. The media wasn't allowed to be there. Tomorrow, they will be allowed to be there. OTAs are underway. The Jets have 10 practices before mandatory minicamp. A lot to talk about. We preview all of it. It's the Jake Asman Show. So let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season. We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jets fans. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure you hit the like button before we move forward. I got a great guest set to join us. Diehard Jet fan, does some great content on the Badlands Patreon network. Also, he's the host of TOJ Live. Steven Zantz is going to be joining me momentarily. Before we bring him on, though, I have to share a clip from the first show we did earlier today. I don't typically do this, but when you have a moment as epic as what happened when Scott called in from his local park in the Albany area, I feel like I'm doing the audience a disservice if I don't play this clip so you could go back and watch the full show from earlier today. Because if you missed it, you missed a lot, including Bobby versus Allen going at it, which ended up putting Allen in the hole. But first, here's Scott calling into the show if you missed it on the first show. All right, more calls right now. Scott is on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline. Hello, Scott.
Hey, what's up, brother? I'm at a park right now, and I want to ask people if there are any Jet fans out here. But
are you in New York?
Yeah, it's in Saratoga Springs, which is like about 30 minutes north of Albany. You go right down the highway, easy drive. But yeah, it's really nice here. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we have a Jet fan. Hey, come back here. Are you a Jet fan?
Oh my God.
No, you are Affleck. See, and maybe you are. I guess not. Probably not. Hey, this follows Bobby Midnight. This is Jet talk here. Hey, I'll probably get in trouble, you know. So yeah, send Allen to the hole. Get that clown in there. And you know what? Put him.
Oh, we lost Scott. Man. I don't know what to say. There's really nothing to say. That's just Scott being Scott. Anyway, I had to share that. Joining me right now is the aforementioned Steven Zantz to talk all things Jets. What's up, Steven?
Not much, Jake. I don't think I could top Scott, though. I feel like that's just something else, and I loved every second of that.
You know, sometimes I feel like I get desensitized to some of the madness that occurs on the show, and then a moment like that reminds me, you're not desensitized to it, because that was an all-timer. Just unreal.
That's like the equivalent of Jake Asman getting a Mongo call on WFAN. Like, that's just literally, that was great.
Oh, my God. And then it just, what a first show it was earlier today. Gator's going to have a field day with some of the content coming out of that. All right. First time I've had you on in a bit, so I'm excited to chop it up with you. You're a huge Jets fan. You do some great content with Badlands and TOJ. OTAs technically started today for the Jets. It's their first OTA practice that went down earlier. First of 10 scheduled practices. These are all voluntary, and then mandatory minicamp is June 11 through the 13th. Today's practice was closed to the media. Tomorrow, it will be open to the media. When we kind of look ahead now to this OTA portion of the Jet offseason, what to you are some of the storylines that you're particularly following?
what Aaron Rodgers does, I mean, to me, he should just be kept on ice. I feel like he doesn't need to learn the playbook. I mean, it is the Aaron Rodgers offense. So I don't think that he needs to do too much. I think it's a good opportunity for, Tyrod Taylor to get some reps. Also Jordan Travis, even though I don't know how healthy he is coming off the injury he had at Florida State. But at the same time, it's just like seeing which veterans show up, which don't. Monitoring some of the things that they have from an injury standpoint, like Tyron Smith, who is somebody they'll probably manage. I'd be surprised if he's even there. Maybe he is there today. I don't know. But Mike Williams, just some of the new faces. But I'm curious what they do with Michael Carter, because I think he is in the last year of his deal, so he's eligible for an extension. And that's been something that's been discussed throughout the offseason. But I think it's something the Jets should get ahead of and just be a more forward-thinking organization. What about you?
So I will say this, tomorrow's going to be interesting because it's the first time that we're going to hear from Nathaniel Hackett this offseason. He's scheduled to speak at 1:20 p.m. Eastern. Jeff Obrick will also speak after Hackett, and then Brant Boyer is scheduled to speak, according to the Jets official PR email I'm reading, at 3:20 p.m. So Sal is going to speak, and the three coordinators are going to speak. So we'll get a lot of interesting sound bites, I'm sure, from each one. But honestly, I think Hackett's the biggest one. You had the Connor Hughes story that came out last week that they essentially tried to replace Nathaniel Hackett this offseason without firing him. That, to me, is probably the big story to come out of tomorrow. And then, of course, you nailed it. Aaron Rodgers, no matter what he does, whether he's there or not, I'm sure he'll be there. He's been at basically everything since he's been a Jet. How does he look? Is he full go? I mean, what are we actually going to see from Aaron in this one practice that the media gets to see tomorrow?
Yeah. I mean, you also hit it on the head with Hackett. I feel like Hackett is, kind of the elephant in the room. Everyone knows it's not an ideal situation from an offensive coordinator perspective. But again, how much is he realistically going to be doing, assuming Aaron Rodgers is able to make it more than 4 snaps in 2024? I know it's a joke, but like I have to say it. But I'm not overly surprised by that story. I feel like if you just thought about it, there was something they were trying to do, was like getting like a senior offensive analyst or advisor in there to really be the guy who's running the ship alongside Rodgers. But again, I just think that, everyone's really on a 1-year deal at this point from a coaching staff, front office standpoint. So I don't love Hackett. I was very pro hiring him before they actually got Aaron Rodgers, feeling like the Jacksonville and Buffalo work that he did as an OC was actually pretty impressive. But it turns out everyone who was very negative about the hire seems to be right. And I'm going to own the take. That was what I said at the time in January 2023. But, with Rodgers, you hope that he can hide a lot of the warts that you have from Nathaniel Hackett.
No doubt. And look, it'll be interesting to see what he says. I'm sure he'll say, I'm here now. The last year's the past, and excited to have Aaron back, and he'll say all that. But he's got a lot to prove. I know Aaron loves the guy, but if this team struggles at some point, he's the first guy off the chopping block. They're not going to bench Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they're going to fire the head coach in season. The one thing you can change is you could fire Hackett, and you could have Downing call the plays like he did in Tennessee. He wasn't great in Tennessee, but he's the only one on this staff that has previous play calling experience.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if they do anything like that. I feel like, Rodgers will really go to bat for Hackett as long as he can. And I feel like they kind of acquiesce to Aaron. So I don't think that will happen. Truthfully, I think everybody just gets a fair shot the rest of the way, all the way through, I guess, January, assuming that they, don't have like a complete, bottom out tailspin season, which I don't think that they will. But you don't really feel confident with any of the other offensive voices calling the plays anyway. I mean, I feel like Sean Jefferson was actually a nice hire. He was actually one of the few coaches that people really liked on the Gase staff, and I feel like he's really well respected around the league. So if I had to pick who would be the offensive coordinator if they did make a move, that would be the guy I'd want, because I just feel like he's a guy that they might respect a lot more than some of the guys they had last year.
The other top storylines I think you have to look at here when you kind of just break down some of the things that are going to stand out is the health situation for this team. Like, I don't expect the Jets to rush back, Mike Williams or have Tyron Smith do a whole lot, but where are they health-wise? Morgan Moses had shoulder surgery in the offseason. He still played basically every game last year, but he said he looks forward to being able to play without pain this year. I'm just curious to see who's off to the side, who's actually practicing. We know AVT's coming back from the Achilles. What's his status? I think the health situation, just the guys that are coming off injuries and the guys who are quote unquote injury prone, that to me is something worth watching as well.
Yeah, totally agree. And I feel like anybody who's recovering from offseason surgery or even just like a late season injury, I feel like they're not going to be doing much. It'll probably be a lot of the stuff off to the side, like what Breece Hall was doing last offseason. why risk it? There's so much time until, training camp and the season. It just be as cautious as possible and just be smart with it, because ultimately this team has a high upside. But again, health is huge here. So we just need to be careful and not try to make anybody do anything too crazy, especially because it's just OTAs. It's not even like a training camp practice, which ultimately I think when you head into training camp, you're going to see Tyron Smith's reps managed very lightly. I feel like Olu Fashanu is going to get a lot of opportunity to show what he can do on probably both sides, but mostly on the left side, just because I think Ty Smith doesn't really need a training camp to be ready for week 1.
Yeah, no doubt. And honestly, if you think about it, Olu is in a great spot because he's going to get a lot of reps, because Tyron Smith doesn't need a ton of reps. He's Tyron Smith, and you want to keep him healthy. So Olu getting the opportunity to play a lot of tackle during OTAs, minicamp, training camp, that's going to be big for his development, because when Tyron Smith does get hurt, because he's not playing 17 games, you're going to need Olu Fashanu to be ready to step in and play at a high level.
Yeah, and I'm excited for him. I think that they made the smart pick, which, may not necessarily be like the ideal pick for people who wanted a pass catcher, whether it was Brock Bowers, whether it was a wide receiver. Even though Rome Odunze wasn't on the board, I think that they probably would have been tempted if he was there. But yeah, I think Fashanu has a really big opportunity, and like, what better situation could he walk into than having Tyron Smith to teach him? And even a guy like Morgan Moses, who's just like a rock solid veteran. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he does in the spring and the summer. But again, it's nice for him because he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him just to be like the savior right away at left tackle.
Yep, no doubt about that. And ultimately, Tyron Smith is such a big part about all, he's such a big part of all this. And, the one thing I could say about Tyron Smith, he's never missed a playoff game. So despite his injury issues, like when it was time to be out there for the playoffs, he's been ready to go. I think every Jet fan, you tell me if I'm wrong, Steven, would sign for the exact same amount of games Tyron Smith played last year, which was 13, and he played in the playoffs. Like, that to me is what you would take. That's best case scenario if you're the Jets.
If he's playing in a playoff game, that means that a lot of things went right. So totally agree with you. And I'm not banking on 17. If he played 17 games, it's unreal. I would imagine that they're going to make another signing. And I feel like Bakhtiari is the guy who makes the most sense, just given with the familiarity with Hackett, Rodgers, and, just he fits exactly what they needed. They need a veteran who knows the system, who could potentially fill in if needed. And if you get 17 games combined from them, that's awesome. And that's all you could really ask for as a Jets fan.
It's interesting that you still think Bakhtiari is possible. I think Connor McGovern might be more likely, because it feels like they need more of an interior guy than a tackle after the Olu pick. Because I do think they're going to give Carter Warren an opportunity to probably be Morgan Moses' backup, and Fashanu is going to back up Tyron Smith.
Yeah, I mean, that's also a fair one. It'd just be funny if Connor McGovern just got brought back again, yet on like a veteran minimum, and he's not a terrible center. I always have felt like in his time with the Jets, he played as well as the guys who were around him. Like when they had terrible offensive linemen, he wasn't very good. But then as it got better, playing with a guy like Tippmann, I feel like you saw him play much better than what he was, earlier in his tenure with the Jets. So that's an interesting one. I mean, I also could see a guy like maybe Andres Pete, who has the flexibility to be inside or out as well.
That's another good name to watch as well. If you have a question or a comment that is worth super chatting, it will cut the line and interrupt our show. So make sure you submit it, and we will bring it up on the screen as quickly as possible. Also, if you're just tuning in, make sure you hit the like button to this video. And if someone wants to gift you an Asmaniac membership, you have a better chance of actually getting one if you like the video and then comment down below. All right. Another big storyline I want to address has nothing to do with OTAs, but it has everything to do with your setup right now. They're calling you #TinySteven in the chat. What's going on with this MetLife backdrop?
I just saw that because I was looking at the comments because I know you were addressing them. My backdrop is terrible behind me. I have a lot of unopened boxes from engagement gifts. Been planning a wedding with my fiance, so that's why I have this. But I appreciate everybody calling out how small I look.
I love it, man. I mean, MetLife looks good, man. They just got to update the logo. I guess they haven't done it yet.
Logo and the turf. That's the key here.
It's amazing how they decided to go post Morgan Wallen concert at MetLife and then put the old Jet logo back up there. Interesting.
Yes. I hope everyone who went to that concert had a good time. I'm a big fan of his.
Shout out to Will Parkinson, who I saw was there.
Yes, he was there. He had the Connor Rogers wedding and then Morgan Wallen the next day. That's quite the weekend,
Yeah, nobody's got it better than Will Parkinson. Nobody.
Yes.
Comments, questions for Steven and I. Another storyline to look at involves another rookie, Malachi Corley. What what does he do in these OTA practices and then mini camp? I think he's got a legitimate chance to be their starting slot receiver on opening night. I could 100% see the Jets kind of slow playing it because he is a rookie. We saw Garrett Wilson wasn't a starter right away. They played the game with Sauce not being listed as a starter when we all knew he was going to start. So I don't know if Corley's going to be listed necessarily as a starter, but I do want to see where he is at in regards to learning this offense. And if Aaron is there at a lot of these OTAs, what's the chemistry that those two start to establish early on?
Yeah, I think he's going to have every opportunity to earn a starting role just because you look at Garrett Wilson and then you look at Mike Williams. After that, everything's up for grabs. I mean, we know Alan Lazard is basically like an $11 million anvil that's just holding down this wide receiver room. You have, Xavier Gipson, who's great special teams player, but let's be honest, he didn't do that much on offense. And I think people sometimes gloss over that. And then you have Brownlee, who is very intriguing because he has the big body like a Mike Williams. But again, that's the type of role he'd be playing. So I think Corley has a clear path to playing time. For me, I feel like they're going to use him a lot the way Braxton Berrios was used when he was with the Jets. Do some of those like end arounds, some of those touch passes. I think that's what you're going to see with him. I know the big comparison coming out of the draft is Deebo Samuel, but like I don't think he's definitely that comparable, but just because of the size, like Deebo's just a rock. And I know Corley's a little bit smaller, but I think they're going to try to incorporate him into the offense in that way.
Today's Jake Asman Show is presented by my friends at Fanatics. Get your officially licensed Jets gear down below, courtesy of Fanatics. Get your Jets officially licensed new legacy hats. The draft hats are down there. Plus, if you want any of the legacy jerseys, click the link. It will take you to the Fanatics website, and the show will get credit. Shout out to Fanatics for being an official affiliate partner of the Jake Asman Show. All right, more storylines to get into here. How about the fact that this is a team that last year paid a lot of money to a guy named Alan Lazard, and he was healthy and active for 3 of the games last year. I want to see, 1, if Lazard's there, 2, what he says when he eventually speaks to the media at some point during the next couple of weeks here, and 3, what type of role is he going to have on the scene? Because the way I viewed him all offseason is, hey, anything you get is a bonus because I'm expecting nothing from him after last year.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I'll say this. I think he will be there because he's tight with Aaron, and Aaron's going to be there. So I feel like he's like, you should show face and show that you're ready to do whatever the team is going to ask of you. So I do think he'll be there. The key here is, and I should have thought this was a problem during training camp when I was there, he was just doing his like soccer routine on the practice field. Like, hopefully he doesn't do that anymore. Maybe he just focuses more on his routes and trying to make sure that he catches the ball, with the jugs. So I just, I don't really expect much from him, just like you. I feel like, if he can get you, I don't know, like 40 catches and maybe a couple touchdowns, that's like a big win because, he's owed a lot of money and it just did not look good. And it seemed like the coaching staff really quit on him last year.
Yep, no doubt about that. And, just in general, the wide receiver room is fascinating. We talked about Corley already. Lazard's still part of that room. And then, where does a guy like Xavier Gipson stand? Jason Brownlee, Herb Charles, the Jets are in a spot here where I think there's going to be a numbers game. How many receivers do they keep? Is Herb Charles on this team because he's replacing Justin Hardy on special teams? So are you carrying 7 receivers this year because Herb Charles has to factor in that role? So I think that just the receiver room in general is worth talking about when it comes to the OTA storylines.
Yeah, I think Herb Charles is an interesting one, especially with no Hardy, and that was like our special teams ace. I think he has a pretty decent shot. But again, I think a guy like Brownlee also might be able to fill in the gunner role as well. I am interested to see what they do. I think that there's a chance that they add another veteran. I know Tyler Boyd was a guy that was talked about for a while. But I think that there just could be some sort of maybe a trade. I feel like sometimes in camp, sometimes like guys who maybe are on the bubble could be moved. I do think that they want to add another veteran receiver just to round out that room.
Yep. I totally could see it. I just wonder who that veteran receiver is at this point. I mean, look, I'll keep saying it until Corey Davis signs somewhere else. I don't think it's improbable for him to come back and play for the minimum because I don't think he has any real offers out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with it. I think that he certainly could do a lot more than Lazard, even though when we signed him, people were saying he was Lazard was an upgraded version of Corey Davis. Does not seem to be the case. I'm interested with that. But again, I feel like if that was going to happen, it would have happened already. I feel like he's probably not as serious about the comeback as we initially were, told by the media when he filed like the reinstatement paperwork. But again, I could be surprised, but no one's really, itching to sign him. So I don't think that he's rushing to come back either.
Tom writes in, Steve is on the goal line about to punch it in. Yeah. Can you jump over the pylon real quick for us? give us the first touchdown of the season.
Oh no, I got to go this way. Do the LT.
Oh my God. That's tremendous. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We'll take some calls on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline with Steven as well. I think when you kind of just look at where the Jets are, Steven, as far as the offseason, because this is the first time I've had you on the show since they've had this flurry of moves to try and improve the team. I feel like going into the year, this is about as stacked of a roster as the Jet fan could have hoped for. It obviously all comes down to Aaron Rodgers being healthy, but for you as a fan, for you as someone who goes to so many games, what to you are some of the big takeaways from this roster? How confident are you in this team going into OTAs and then training camp this summer?
So I love the roster. I think that, they could use a few pieces sometimes in the margins, but overall it's as talented of a roster as they've had since like 2009, 2010. They have the depth that they need outside of wide receiver. I think every position is really well equipped. I think that, interior defensive line is certainly a position to watch with some of the guys who had left in free agency. But again, you'd be hard pressed to find a better roster in the AFC from top to bottom. The key thing is health. If they could stay healthy, this is a playoff team. But again, that's not guaranteed, as we learned last year. And until you see Aaron Rodgers play a full game, you're really not going to feel confident that everything is going to go according to plan, because we're just scarred.
That's just the reality, man. I mean, nobody outside of the most optimistic Jet fans are going to sit here and be like, yep, he's definitely playing 17 games. We just don't know. I think he's obviously going to play more than 4 plays, but it's like, okay, well, how many games? And yes, they have Tyrod Taylor, but Aaron's got to play at least 14, 15 games. And I think they're definitely a playoff team if he does that.
100%. And you feel pretty confident depending on the opponent if Tyrod has to start 2 or 3 games. I mean, he was pretty solid for the Giants. I know eventually, he was benched for Tommy DeVito and then he reclaimed the job back, but he was really impressive in that Eagle game. I know that, that Eagle team was reeling, but still not an easy place to play and come off the bench. And he won that game for them. So I can't say that, I wouldn't be optimistic. It's not like a Zach Wilson situation. It's not a Tim Boyle or even Trevor Siemian. This guy is a clear-cut upgrade over what we've had at the QB2 spot for years.
No question. Sarah McCoy's watching the show. Sarah, I hope you're well. Sarah is a longtime listener of my former radio show in Houston. She's a big Texans fan, and Houston got just destroyed with some floods and a storm the other day. So some of my friends are still without power. So I hope you and everyone down there, Sarah, are doing okay. She writes in, what is Jordan Travis's health status? Will he be ready to play by training camp? The Jets have said they do expect him to be ready for camp. We will see. That's an unknown at this point. He wasn't ready for, rookie mini camp a couple of weeks ago, which was expected. I do think we will see him at some point in training camp, and I hope we do, because it's a fun storyline to watch these next 2, maybe 3, if Aaron's really playing well, seasons to kind of see Jordan Travis's development.
Yeah. In a perfect world, you want to see him and Tyrod get all the snaps in the preseason. I don't think Aaron needs to play anything. I would not put him in the dress rehearsal game at all like they did last year.
I think they're going to. I think he's going to play a drive or 2. I think it's going to be because he wants to, because he wants to shake off the rust.
I agree, but just given how last year, played out, I would just be as cautious as possible. And maybe that's just me. And I get his point of view on that. And I wouldn't be angry, but I'd be sweating the entire time like I was last year. But that's not mattering because it just was week 1.
Exactly. That's why I think it's if he's gonna get hurt, he's gonna get hurt. But do I want him out there? No, I wouldn't play him if it was up to me. But if Aaron's I want to play, I feel like I need this coming off the injury to just feel comfortable and get ready. They played him last year. I think they'd give him a drive or 2 this year.
Yeah, a drive or 2. That's it. Should not go any further than that, in my opinion.
Yep. It's just only the Jets, man. Sarah says, we're okay, Jake. Thanks for the shout out. Glad you're doing well, Sarah. Good to hear.
Glad to hear that as well. I actually have some family out in Houston, so I'm glad to know everybody's all right.
No way. Yeah, shout out to everyone in H-Town, my former residents. Big fella with a super chat. We need Steven in a weekly spot. Oh, baby, you're impressing the big fella, Steven.
Listen, if you come calling, I'll try to make some time.
I don't know if you have time, man. You're getting married in August. I mean, you're a busy guy.
It should be easier during the season, though. That will be after all that madness. So we'll see. But if you ever, I'm glad to come on whenever you ask.
Drop back Mark writes in, smash the like and subscribe button for Jake. I completely agree. Hit the like button. It is free. It helps the show. And if you don't hit the like button, I'm convinced that you're a Patriot fan and you don't want to be a Patriot fan. All right, let's take some calls. Gusbuster Hotline is the place to be. All calls, of course, presented by the best umbrella in the universe. Just ask Scotty Scheffler. If you go to gusbuster.com, you could purchase the best umbrella in the universe. And you could use the promo code Jake to get 15% off on any of your umbrellas. Here we go. First up on the hotline this afternoon is Neil. Hello, Neil.
How are you? Steve, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice background there. Getting excited already. I can't see. Yeah. Looks phenomenal. Jake mentioned the most optimistic Jets fan, and I basically carry that torch, and I'll carry it right into the stadium week 1 and be as excited as I've ever been.
Neil, am I sitting with you for Thursday Night Football? Are we locking this in now that we know it's the home opener?
Yes.
All right.
You'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're running it back. Yeah.
Running it back. There's no two ways about it.
It's probably better it's not on Monday night, so we'll do it Thursday night this time. There we go.
Yeah. Look, there's no doubt we're going to run it back. We have a lot of unfinished business. The receipts are a mile high. And, I couldn't be happier. Last year I had this pit in my stomach, and I've had this pit many times before. And the expectations were just so over the top, and the media was over the top, and everything was just spelled out and looked so beautiful and perfect. And that's not how New York teams win championships. It's all about the camaraderie, how the guys get together. It's the underdog mentality. New Yorkers are the underdogs, the ultimate underdog mentality. That's what we thrive in. We thrive when the expectations are high. I never saw us. I mean, could you name a team that was supposed to win it all that just coasted right to a championship that has a New York label? Either of you guys? I don't remember anyone.
Well, the Yankee dynasty would come to
That was
mind.
what I was going to say. Late 90s Yankees when they went three straight, probably.
Okay. All right. I'm not a Yankee fan, but yeah, that makes sense. The Yankees had expectations. But again, I think the OTAs is going to be big for Aaron. I think he should be there every day, testing out these guys. I think he should have, I think Alan Lazard is going to be a big surprise on the upside because nobody really expects much of him. But he did have so much success with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. He knows what he likes. He knows where to be. And, he has a big advantage going in. Don't forget, he's the only guy on the wide receiver room that has a ton of game time experience with Aaron Rodgers. And that means a lot because, Aaron's going to do a play and he's going to look at his first option, but he's always going to have Lazard in the back of his mind because Lazard knows where to go. He knows where he wants him to be. And he's a big body. And he has a lot to prove. I'm like Jake said earlier, I'm very interested in what he has to say to start the season. And I think the wide receiver room is good the way it is. I do think that we have to see what the Raiders do the first 5 or 6 games of the season, because if they falter like I expect them to, then Devontae Adams is going to come up. And that's one player we could take at the trade deadline that doesn't need to practice with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he could step right in. He knows Hackett's system. He knows everything about the Jets. And if there's one guy that we could step in and take, whether it be before the season starts, which I doubt, or 5, 6, 7, 8 games in, and we need a push for the second half of the season, I think it's just going to work out great because we know the second half is where our tough teams are going to be.
Well, Neil, it depends, though. It depends on the other guys on the Jets. Like if Corley's legit and Williams is healthy and Garrett's Garrett, they're not going to make that move. If there's an injury, they could. So a lot of it is that's why having that extra third-round pick is big, because if it's not Devontae, it could be a different receiver that's available that they can add.
Yeah, but again, like you want to have a guy step in that could right away make an impact and know the system, because anybody else that comes in is going to have to warm up to what Aaron does and everything else. This is the all-in season for us. And, there are going to be players like Davante Adams that are going to want to be Jets, especially with the start we're going to have, supposedly. And they know that we're going to be right there, and they're going to want to come here. It's not just going to be him. It's going to be several players that are at the end of their contracts that are going to say, hey, let's go. I want to be with a winner. And Davante Adams is not getting any younger, and he certainly hasn't tasted a trophy. And Rodgers is going to be riding his butt every single week as we keep going through the season. He is not going to want to be a Raider. That's my prediction.
I loved a Davante Adams to the Jet trade conversation on May 20th. Neil, thoughts from Jake West here. He says your fire alarm is about to go off. Is this true?
Well, it always goes off at the end of what I say, but I just want to say, I'll reiterate again, 17-0. The meetup, I'll be there in Hicksville. It's right around the block for me.
I have info I'm posting in the Discord later where it's a charity event I'm a part of that people could come out and support. It's going to be a Long Island meetup. It's going to be awesome. There could be some Jets players there. Get to the Discord if you're on my Patreon. If you're not on my Patreon, what are you waiting for? You'll find out about it later today once I finalize it after the show.
Sorry about the Knicks for everybody. It was heartbreaking, but again, they weren't going to beat the Celtics without Brunson in there and with a fractured hand. There's no way. It just was too unfortunate, and the gods went against the Knicks as far as injuries are concerned. So let's hope they ignore the Jets this year for once.
Yeah, they got us
That's
last
the
year.
only bright spot I could say. You can't be not every single team that performs and gets to the playoffs that has a New York emblem is going to have the injury bug bite them in the rear. And we just had too many injuries for the Knicks for it to happen to our other team. So that's the one positive I could take out of that. And, I am certainly not going to be, I'm more the Evan Roberts thing. I mean, I will be, I'll be suicidal if we don't get to this.
Yeah.
I will.
Jake, I've made all 13 of my points. Before you cut me off again, I'm going to throw myself out this goddamn window.
See, Neil said that the fire alarm always goes off before his call ends. Not that time. Now, if I hit this, though, Steven, it would have.
These goddamn exploding cigars. I got to go, Jake. I'll call back later. Shit.
That was great. He's like the epitome of every Jets fan that calls him to talk radio, just optimistic. He gave me very much like Ira in Staten Island vibes. I was like, he's the most optimistic Jets fan I know. But
Ira's become very negative. I don't know if you've heard him recently. Or
I haven't.
I guess he doesn't text you multiple times a week like he does me. Ira's become very negative.
He texts you multiple times a week?
Yeah, well, it depends on the week. But I heard from Ira the second. For those who care, this was Ira's text to me the second he saw the Jets schedule. I had to calm him down. I'm like, relax. He says, brutal schedule. Sucks. 4 night games at home. Insane. I'm like, relax. It's not that bad.
I mean, I'll say this. 2 Thursday night home games, that is just absolutely absurd and terrible for the season ticket holders. I can't get over that.
For the season ticket holders, it's not great. Everyone could fully acknowledge that. But if you were going to have to play Thursday Night Football twice, having both them be at home is significant.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, the first month, you gotta go 3-1. Like you have to in some way, whether it's, if you lost one of the easier games but beat the Niners, you just gotta go 3-1. Like you have to.
Also, Neil brought up a Long Island meetup. I will have details on that. Once again, I saw a couple of people already reach out. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. You get, as one of the perks in your membership to my Patreon subscription, you get Discord access. I'm going to post the info there later once I finalize everything. It's coming. It's going to be fun. Hicksville, Long Island. We coming, baby. All right. Comments, questions, super chats, more calls. This guy earlier said he wants a weekly spot with Steven on the show. The big fella joins us now. What's up, big fella?
Hey, what's up, gentlemen? How are you?
What's up? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Two names I want to talk about. Corey Davis. How likely do you think that it would be for him to come back?
I would probably say less than 15%, but I'm just throwing it out there. If they were to add another pass catcher, he's still available. I know for a fact they love him in that building and would welcome him back. I just don't know if he, one, wants to come back, and two, how much money he's looking to make, because the Jets don't have a lot of cash left to spend.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm not high on the depth for linebacker, like I said last show. So I was looking it up, and Quan Alexander's still out there. What do you think about bringing him in?
They have Jamie and Sherwood, who they love. I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah, and one thing to note about that is the way this defense is, constructed and the way they operate, they don't actually need linebacker depth. It's more about corners and safeties and obviously the up front. So they're comfortable with that, and they probably would maybe move one of the safeties to play a hybrid role if there were an injury to someone who's significant, whether it be Mosley or Quincy. So I wouldn't be overly concerned, and that was something I thought about. But then when I saw how the defense operated last year, and spoke to some people who are definitely more knowledgeable when it comes to schemes, and like it's not as big of a need, and that's why they really don't address it as much.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to know. Anyway, have a good day. Have a good day, guys. Talk
You
to
too,
soon.
man.
All right,
Big fella, stay big. Appreciate you. Big fella. What a legend. He came to our last meetup, and he's, in fact, a confirmed big fella. Cougar Carly's watching the show. Oh, goodness. A Long Island meetup. Are you coming? Hicksville. We'll be there. Details to come. Patreon users will find out about it first, because that is one of the perks of your membership. More calls right now. Fly By Night joins us now. What's up, Fly By Night?
Hey, Jake. Hey, Steven. Great show as always. That early show was amazing. The Scott, anyways, two questions for you guys. First one, what do you guys feel is more likely, Xavier Gibson or Irv Charles taking that spot as the special teams gunner?
Well, definitely not Gibson. They're not going to put like a 5'8" guy on gunner.
Not gunner, sorry, I mean receiving. But yeah, I just feel like he did a good job on the special teams last year, but with Irv Charles coming in to try to, compete for that special teams highlight role, I don't know. I don't know who I'd pick. But the more important question is, do you think that there's a chance that they really kind of soft play Rodgers in that first game against the 49ers if they don't put him in the in the dress rehearsal? Because I'm so worried that he's going to it's the first game of the season, and he's going up against, you got a brand new offensive line going against some of the best pass rush in the game. We're just, I was at that September 11th game with I had a clear shot at the fourth play, and I just don't want to see that again, But anyways, Jake, as always, amazing job. And Steven, also, I watched the TOJ. You guys do a great job over there, so keep up the great work, guys.
Thank you.
Look, to me, if Aaron wants to play a little in the preseason, he will. You also have to hope the Jets O-line's just better. Like Tyron Smith's playing week 1. He's better than Dwayne Brown. Like the Jets offensive line is actually, look, it's crazy to even say aloud. It's actually pretty good. It should be one of their strengths of their offense. Like they have 5 really solid, competent linemen. Now they all got to be healthy for week 1, but like the Jets a year ago at this time, we didn't know what their line was looking like. We've known the Jets 5 starting offensive linemen since mid-March. Then they added a Fashanu in the first round. He's your backup to Tyron Smith. Like the O-line's a strength.
Yeah, health contingent, but yes. I also just think the game plan against the Niners will be very run heavy anyway. So I don't think that they're going to ask him to do too much. I just think that that's the way they want to play. And I think Breece Hall should have, a huge role. And you have to think about that from last year. Last year, Breece Hall was probably not 100% when they, week 1 happened. And you saw that because they were limiting his touches. And then as the season went along, he was, obviously featured more, and Michael Carter was, let go. So I think that they are probably going to take it slow, because September, depending on who you talk to, is definitely more of a glorified preseason. You could see that teams typically don't hit their stride until late October, early November. So, yeah, I don't think that Rodgers is going to be asked to do too much in the first game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, when I'm about to play, Steven, if there's kids in the room, cover their eyes, all right? This clip that the Jets have officially posted is not safe for work. So there's your warning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Jet porn is
just so clean. I am so happy that they are the primary ones.
How about that? Hey, too slow, Sauce. Nice try. Garrett Wilson, baby. Yeah. I love it. The porn's back, baby. It's like last year all over again. Only Garrett's wearing number 5, and they actually have nice helmets.
Yeah, I'm one of the few idiots who bought the Garrett 17 in the whites, but 7's my favorite number, so I'm not upset about it. But yeah, it'll be a nice collector's item one day.
There you go. I mean, the only thing that would concern me is it does look like. So is Schweitzer being cross-trained at tackle? Interesting.
That is interesting. The only thing I could think of is maybe you just the tackle.
His number?
He must have changed his number then.
According to our lads, 71 is still Schweitzer. Max Mitchell 61. I don't know if they maybe changed their numbers though with the new year. I don't know. And we're overanalyzing one clip, but this is why the Jet fans are the best in the world. We care this much.
We do. We care too much because they haven't given us much return on investment.
I've always said it, man. The Jet organization does not deserve how great the Jet fan base is.
They don't. And they give us a terrible field too. Let's hope that they change that one day.
More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our greatest callers is on the line. Jay Quest, who joins us now. Jay Quest, you're on Long Island. You better be coming to my meetup when I give you the details of that on the Discord.
Yeah, I'll be there. I live in Seaford. It's close enough. So I'll definitely be there.
There we go.
Steven, dude, you getting married, you said?
I am.
Just enjoy the day, bro. You know, it goes quick, that wedding. So just enjoy that day, drink up, and prenup, all right? Just in terms of the Jets, man, like, I just can't wait till the season starts. It's friggin' May, you know? Like, I just wish – I know the summer – you want to enjoy the summer. I want it to blow by, bro. I want the season to start right now. I'm so pumped.
I mean, I love summer, but, like, football is the best. So it's like, you know, it's a tough spot. I want to enjoy summer while also I cannot wait to be at training camp, and then I can't wait to actually watch this team hopefully be good.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is hypothetical. Last night I was watching. What was I watching? Jets Jags '98 playoffs. Like, I have to watch old games to like relive like times we've been decent, which hasn't been many, right? But like, it's like these last like 10 years, 12 years, whatever the hell it is, it's been awful, bro.
Yeah,
like, give us something.
Well, that's what's crazy if you think about it, though. Like from Parcells to Rex, this team had a lot of really good years, like winning seasons, playoffs multiple times, winning playoff games with, you know, 3 different coaches in that stretch. Like, it was only post Rex when they become this like laughing stock with the playoff drought and everything. So like, there's a whole generation of Jet fans that don't know what it's like when this team's actually good. Like Connor, who's the 12-year-old who calls the show, his first year he recalls of being a fan is Josh McCown in 2017. Like, that's crazy.
That's rough.
And that was actually a fun year, believe it or not.
Yeah.
He got hurt. They probably would have been in contention for a wild card if he didn't get hurt.
They weren't wild card good, but they were 5-8, and they were supposed to be the worst team in the league. And then he got hurt, and then Petty played the last 3, so they finished 5-11. But they were like a fun 5-8. Like, they were in a lot of games, you know.
They were frisky, as they say. They were a frisky team.
Think about it, man, a home playoff game, how electric it would be, man. Just
more electric than your prank calls to the fan. I don't know.
I don't know how about the one yesterday with Zach, man. That was
dude, your call yesterday. So Jay Quest called in on my NFL radio show, and I knew it was him, but I played it off because my producers, my co-host, had no idea. It was beyond funny. What was your line about Zach Wilson when my co-host asked you about him?
Oh, he said, what did he say? How does Zach Wilson get on the field? I said he's got to sleep with Bo Nix's wife and mother. Let me go. I'm doing some yard work again. I'll talk to you.
Are you ever not doing yard work, Jay Quest?
I'm always doing something. I was on the line early. I was food shopping. My phone was at 1%, so I had to hang up.
I love it. Great call, Jay Quest. You're the man. I look forward to meeting you in person.
That was great. Jake, have you talked to, I guess, the audience about what Lebitard Stugatz talked about the AFC East, like times that teams have won, how the Jets are in 5th, even though there's only 14?
Yeah. I brought that up after I've like known that stat for a while, but I saw it like it recently went viral. So it was like in a news cycle again, you know?
Yeah, it's I remember what Zoe shared with me. I'm like, I did know that the Colts used to be in the division. Obviously, I wasn't really following as closely when they were. But yeah, I wasn't surprised either, just because I know we only have 2 in our history, which is one of the saddest stats of all time for a team that's been around since 1960.
Yeah, it's just, and if you think about it, like, I think it's a big reason why the Jets haven't been back to a Super Bowl, because every time they have played in the championship game since the AFL title game, which was a home game, by the way, back in 1968 against the Raiders, They've been on the road. The Dolphin game in the 80s, on the road. When they went to the championship game against Denver in 98, on the road. The 2 trips with Rex in 09 and 10, in Indy on the road, in Pittsburgh on the road. Like, I'm not saying the Jets need to host the AFC title game to definitely get to a Super Bowl. Like, believe me, if they go to Arrowhead this year, Fred, I'd sign for that now. Who wouldn't? But at least get a home playoff game so you could set yourself up to have the best possible path to go on a deep run.
Yeah, if they get a home playoff game, just think about how the Garden's been for both the Rangers and Knicks. Like, they will have, that level of noise in the building. It'll be awesome. I mean, it's been so long that people are just going to go crazy. And, these fans deserve it more than anything, in my opinion.
Hey, let's give some love to someone who just joined my Patreon. He, in fact, commented that he did, and I see the email now confirming it. Jets Forever, the one we like, not the troll, has become a Patreon member. Welcome aboard. Get in the Discord. Jets Forever. We appreciate the support. He signed up for the year, and he saved 15% by doing exactly that. Pittsburgh Mike writes in, Jay Quest, that call yesterday on NFL radio was hilarious. For a second, I didn't know it was you, but I caught on quick. LOL, so good. I knew it was him because of the voice, but then he started using some of my lines when describing Zach Wilson. He's like, he stinks. And I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, Jay Quest. So spectacular job by him. All right, more calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our OGs is on the line. The great Peter Castro joins us. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Jake. Hey, Steve. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice background. Jake, I just wanted a couple of little things. Somebody from the Jets is watching your show because we're going to get Sauce Gardner now traveling with one of those, whoever the other team's best receiver is.
Correct.
The next thing that I'm thinking about, because I'm thinking about the future of the games, is we're playing like 4 or 5 rookie quarterbacks in the beginning of the year. And we got to blitz. We got to blitz these guys. They'll be throwing the ball all over the place. And last year, he didn't blitz enough, in my opinion. He did blitz in the Denver game, and it led to a victory because Russell Wilson fumbled the ball, and I forgot who got it, but they ran back in with it. And I just hope that they listen to the show, that they're listening to the show because they do listen. Somebody is listening because right after we went on and we were complaining about Sauce Gardner not traveling with the other team's best receiver, they said they were going to start doing it. What they have to start doing is blitzing rookie quarterbacks, especially guys. What's his name isn't a rookie, Purdy. But if you move him around, he loses 2-3 miles an hour on his ball. He's not that good. You have to blitz. That's all I wanted to say, Jake.
I think it's a fair point, Peter. The one pushback would be sometimes it's hard to blitz when you're protecting a minuscule lead or you're trailing. Like, you got to get home with 4. What will help the Jets defense is they're playing with more leads. They're not trailing as much. So maybe we can see maybe more creativeness and aggressiveness. I mean, I go back 2 years ago. How about the design safety blitz, or not safety blitz, the design corner blitz with Sauce that knocked Teddy Bridgewater out of the game? And that was a huge play. Yeah, like, I'd like to see stuff like that. And you're right. When they did blitz against Denver, they forced a huge turnover. That was Quincy Williams on the blitz. We didn't see that enough. I think we definitely could see more of that, but I think it starts with having more leads because I think that helps your defense.
Well, I think with this offense, with Aaron Rodgers, the defense is not going to be on the field like it's been for the last 3 years. So they should be pretty well rested, and I'm just hoping that they're listening to the show and they blitz these quarterbacks because they need to get. If they want to win, they're going to have to do that. And I think that they got a top 5 roster in the league, maybe the best roster, and they should win. And I just want to make sure they don't make any mistakes. So just pass it on, Jake.
I will pass it on. I will call up Robert Saleh right after the show, Peter, because as you know, he consumes every minute of this program. It's me and Beningo. Which, by the way, Joe B's coming on. I don't have a date yet. He called me the other night. I said it on the show. I jumped the gun. Joe told me originally he could do today, and then something came up. So we're going to get Joe on soon. I am excited to share, though, that tomorrow, the guy on ESPN.com, Mike Clay, who wrote the story that the Jets are winning the Super Bowl, he's coming on tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. So that's going to be fun to get his thoughts. How about this? A guy in the national media picking the Jets to win the Super Bowl. I never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, he made a lot of really strong selling points, but again, he had some caveats that we all do with health. Obviously, coaching is important. But I do want to go back to what Peter was just saying on the call, because he was saying he hopes that they see this. For people who maybe aren't as familiar really on social and everything, they look They watch, they listen to everything. And if you read the Athletic article from last year that Zach Rosenblatt, which was a great job, it highlights that. So they see it all. They do.
Yeah, I mean, look, they definitely do watch. I mean, there's no doubt. I don't know if my show or anyone's show is the reason why Sauce is now traveling.
Oh, of course not.
But they definitely do pay attention. I mean, I'm still waiting for my interview with Woody after he told me in Canton he was coming on the show. But that's neither here or there.
Listen, they put you in One Jets Drive and Flight 2024, so yeah, they definitely watch.
That's not like the front office though. That's like the social media team that does a really good job.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think that the clips are circulated for sure to people who have say in the organization.
No, there's no doubt about that. Pittsburgh Mike with some breaking news. I'm an Aaron Rodgers truther. I love it. Let's all be Aaron Rodgers truthers because it's way better than Zach Wilson truthers. I'll tell you that much. Pittsburgh Mike follows up. Steven, happy to have you, brother. Thoughts on Jason Brownlee this year?
I like him a lot. I think that, he got some opportunities late in the season. I think specifically in the Commander game when he scored a touchdown. I want to see him become a little bit more refined with his route running, but you got to love like his body. He's fast. He has decent hands. I think he's going to have a huge opportunity to win, maybe not necessarily a starting role, but at least some snaps on offense this year, at least throughout the season.
No question about that. I do think he's got a legitimate chance to play a role. I mean, he's the backup right now to, probably Mike Williams at this point. That's at least going in. That's how it looks. Let's see. Dano says they definitely pay someone ultra plugged in to deliver them with a synopsis of the pulse of the fan base. Yeah, Woody, I'm sure could go on Twitter and read his mentions. That's been reported, right, in that Athletic story.
I'm always curious how much Woody's actually using the account. I feel like it's somebody doing it for him because some of the tweets just look so like ChatGPT driven.
It's not him. It's not him doing all like the photo tweets or the marketing tweets. But when he fired off the tweet responding to Colleen Wolf's BS report about that was him. The fight between him and Saleh at the owners' meetings. That was like the entire tone was clearly I'm an angry old man typing this myself.
And he definitely did the ones, even though it was probably scheduled, when he said that we're having new jerseys because he loves the uniform reveals every week.
Yeah, or he just tells someone to what the post. There's no doubt. Carly says I'm a Joe Flacco truther.
That didn't end so well in Cleveland in the playoffs. Let's just say that.
Did Joe Flacco get signed anywhere, or he's still a free agent right now? I think he's a free agent still, right?
No, I think he did get signed.
Did he get a job? I don't remember.
He definitely did. He got. All right, I'll get you this one.
Oh, I guess I'm at the Colts. I forgot about that.
He definitely, That's actually a good spot for him because Richardson showed that he could be a little bit injury prone so far in his rookie season. So I think that's a good opportunity for him.
Yeah, I forgot what happened to Flacco. All right, let's get to more of your calls. Unless you got to run, Steven. I know you're on a tight schedule here.
You got me for 5 more minutes.
All right. Well, I got to introduce you to someone who's about to become a lifelong friend to you. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Here we go.
Well, I love the Yankees and the Jets, and to read the Super Chats are more than just a hat. Bobby.
Hi, Steven. Congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you.
My brother's birthday is August 5th.
Nice.
Your wedding is August 3rd, so 2 days after that, my brother turned 55. So, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
You look very young. I'm old fart. We had a great day. We had a great time on the first show. Me and Jake, we got rid of this little cartoon character, Alan, today. It's very quiet today. Is it calling? He's very negativity person. I like everybody. Alan. So you work for the WFAN too? You said?
I don't.
Oh, do you hear what me and Jake posted to WFAN? That what's his name again?
Steven, are you familiar with Knoebel?
Knoebel, yeah, that's.
I'm actually not.
Oh, we called up Keith Pearson the other day.
Yes, I know Keith. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I called him up, and then he couldn't believe it. Then Jake Quest called the other day too after I called up. So that's the guy, and I called in Jake's show yesterday too.
Hold on, Bobby. I'll give him a little sample here. All right. This was
Yeah.
Bobby prank calling Keith McPherson on WFAN.
All right, let's go back to Bob in Vermont.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think the Jets and Giants will do on the draft, your choices? And also, do you ever hear of a player from college called Kanobu?
Kanobu? From what school?
College.
Yeah, but what college?
It's just college. Do you ever hear that guy's name?
No, I've never heard of Kanobu from college.
Kanobo.
Kanobo from college? What position does he play?
He plays offense and defense.
He plays offense and defense? He's a two-way guy?
Yep, that's what he said.
How do you spell the last name?
Kanobo. I can't remember how you spell it. It starts with K, I know that.
Okay, because I'm spelling it wrong on Google.
No, Kanobo.
Thanks for the call, Bob. I do not know who Kanobo is. Maybe somebody listening knows of a player, a two-way player coming out of college that gives you like 300 options. I'm looking at Zoo. He's just laughing. I'm trying to find out. A two-way player plays offense and defense. Kanobo is coming.
And there you go, Steven. A little taste.
Yeah, and then Jake got me this Jet hat. I'm a new Jet fan now.
Well, Bobby,
I was
guess what?
a Giant fan. I changed the Jet. What?
There's another hat that should be arriving any day now, okay?
I know. I'm going to look at a place I told you my mailbox this time. Not in where I told you I did.
That's right.
Yeah, you're a nice guy. I want to be your friend. So you got to have a friend for life.
Pleasure's mine, Bobby.
There you go. Friendship being had.
Well, you know I love to talk and hate to type. Jake, when is your next show? Alan is a cartoon character. Bobby.
There you go, Steven. You've experienced a Bobby Midnight call.
Oh, it's great. Listen, Bobby seems like he's got a big heart, and he's a big supporter of yours. So he seems like a great guy.
He's the best. Where can people find you, Steven, before you get out of here?
Yeah, thank you, Jake. You can find me on Twitter at @Zantz. You can find me on youtube.com/@BadlandsTOJ. Typically, Steven Russo and I, my co-host, we stream once a week. It'll definitely be picking up, I would say, as the season gets closer. But yeah, appreciate all the support. And also, if you prefer audio versions of our show, it also is on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon podcasts. Just search Turn on the Jets Live.
There you go. Steven, great job, man. Good luck with the wedding, and I look forward to seeing you at a couple games this year.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Steven Zantz joining us from Badlands TOJ. Good stuff there with him. I'll stay on a little while longer, take some more of your calls, some programming notes. Mad Dog Sports Radio. I'm hosting for 4 hours this Sunday, 4 to 8 Eastern. And then finally, for the first time since New Year's Day, when I filled in for DiPietro and Rothenberg, can't wait to be back on ESPN New York. I'm hosting on Memorial Day, filling in for Alan Hahn and Bart Scott from 12 to 3. I will be rocking my Bart Scott jersey that I've had since Bart played for the Jets when I fill in for Alan and Bart from noon to 3 on Memorial Day 1 week from today. So some radio news for those who enjoy listening to me away from YouTube. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show for reminders about all that, plus information about a Long Island meetup that is about to be finalized. Today's show presented by my friends at Huga House. You see, I'm wearing the Huga House hat. Aaron Rodgers also wearing the Huga House hat. You can get this one or any one of your choice that they have on their website, 15% off when you use promo code Asman at checkout. That's HugaHouse.com. Promo code Asman. Buy one hat from Huga House. Get your second hat 30% off. HugaHouse.com. Promo code Asman at checkout. All right. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Let's go to Matthias, who's up next. What's up, Matthias? Matthias, you are on mute. We cannot hear you. And now it says you're on mute, but we couldn't hear you when you were not on mute. Try and call back, Matthias. Maybe it's a StreamYard glitch. We'll see if we can get you back up. Hate when that happens. NY Jets Florida writes, and Bobby will be at Steven's wedding. Maybe he will. Bobby seems like a great wedding date. Bobby's going to get after it on the dance floor. Matthias is back with us. Hello, Matthias. We cannot hear you. No. Sorry to hear. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a setting or something. Dano writes in, are you going to do ayahuasca next or a darkness retreat, Jake? You got to try one of those if you're already mimicking his attire. We'd love to see a stream with you doing one of those. If the Jets win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, I would gladly stream myself doing ayahuasca or a darkness retreat. Until then, I'm just going to continue to speak on behalf of Hugo House because they pay me. And I also really like the hat, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be wearing it. Let's see. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We're going to give Matthias one last shot at it, and he's gone. Oscar the Grouch says, Jake, are you surprised at all? The Jets targeted Stinger. I talk about this team so much that I know that he typed in Jets, and for whatever reason, it auto-corrected it to Keys. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Are you at all surprised the Jets targeted Stinger so early on in their draft process? I thought he was maybe a last-minute kind of pick, but they wanted them all along. What are your thoughts? I didn't know much about him, but then I heard Connor Rogers say they brought him in for a top 30 visit, and he tested like a guy who was going to go well before the last couple rounds of the draft. So when you hear that info, it shouldn't be that surprising. Connor Rogers, who's as plugged into the draft as anyone, called that pick for the Jets. So I don't think it should be viewed as that surprising. All right, one last chance for Matthias. Matthias.
All right, let's try this again. Jake, can you hear me?
Yes,
all right,
there we go.
Hey, what's going on? I just wanted to say, I thought it was so childish that Paul Pierce just took a Jalen Brunson jersey and started just stomping it on the ground. You have a guy that's 40-something years old. You got to grow the hell up, bro.
He's a loser, bro. I mean, I don't even want to give him the time of day. Who cares about Paul Pierce's opinions on anything?
You're right. And I just wanted to say, fully healthy Knicks, they win that series. I don't want to hear otherwise.
Forget fully healthy Knicks. How about if OG just was healthy and he didn't get hurt in game 2? They win in 5.
That's true. OG, you even saw him in the beginning of the game. Even when he was limping, he was just still making shots. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from any fans, from any opposing fans. I think Knicks are going to come back strong. We have nothing. I am not worried about the Knicks. In terms of the Jets, my question to you is, who are you looking at the most on the line for training camp? Me in particular, I'm looking at Joe Tippmann. I want to see if he can step up his game as center and really take that position by hand. And I'm also really looking forward to see how how Morgan Moses and how Tyron Smith are going to how they are in terms of practice, how their reps are. I really, I think, like I said, that's going to be the key for this season is just health. Like you said, health. This line needs to stay healthy and just gel. That's all. Have a good one, Jake.
Matthias, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, look, I definitely will be watching the O-line closely because you don't expect Tyron Smith to be out there right away. Why? Keep him healthy. So let's see what Olu could do. You're talking about AVT coming off the Achilles injury. He doesn't need to play every rep right away. Who's going to step up? That's among the backups. So 100%. The offensive line is the biggest storyline with the offense besides the return of Rodgers. We know this. On paper, it's a very good offensive line. Can they gel and play on the field together? That's the question. Tyron Smith's injury prone. AVT's coming up 2 season-ending injuries. Tippin's not an injury-prone guy. Simpson is as durable as any player they've ever had. Morgan Moses, I know he had surgery, but he's been incredibly durable in his career. Hopefully, it stays that way. I want to see Carter Warren take a step. We keep hearing they like Carter Warren. Well, let's see. I'm excited to see Tippmann in year 2. That's the bottom line. Comments, questions, super chats. Continue to cut the line. Peter Castro says, Knicks, thank you for a great season. You gave it your all. It's disappointing the way it ended. But if you can't sit back and appreciate what the Knicks gave you despite the overwhelming amount of injuries, I don't know what to tell you, Knicks fans. And I think 99% of every Knicks fan out there agrees. I certainly know the 19,000 at the Garden I was with yesterday agreed. Love the fact they gave this team a standing ovation. Love the fact they singled out Josh Hart and chanted his name. Love the fact Jalen Brunson, who was not even on the court when they were chanting his name because he was in the locker room because he fractured his hand. They were serenading him. And I love the fact that after the game, I asked Brunson about that moment, and he gave an answer that's gone viral all over social media today.
Jalen, Knicks fans, when you were already in the locker room chanting your name at the end of the game, your connection with them, the relationship you have with the fan base seems very special. Can you get into what they have meant to you throughout the season?
They have been nothing but amazing to myself, to this team, to my family, and it's really cool. And so just so thankful for them and everything. And the nights that we needed energy, they provided for us. And the games on the road when we needed energy, they provided for us. And so they're amazing. And I can't really put into words of what they mean to me, but they deserve much more than what we were able to do this playoff run. They deserve much more than that.
I mean, it's the only time I'm going to disagree with Jalen Brunson. He left it all out there, and he shouldn't feel bad. Shouldn't feel like he owes us as fans. This Knicks team gave us way more than any of us could have imagined. They overly exceeded their win total in the regular season, despite all the injuries. They finished as the 2 seed. They had to fight to the bitter end to be the 2 seed. The last day of the regular season. They got matched up against a Philly team that it took everything for them to get by them because of all the injuries the Knicks had suffered. But they fought and fought and fought. Brunson clearly not 100% playing through his foot injury. And the fact that OG, who is due for a new contract, has been a Knick for 10 minutes, owes nothing to this organization, wanted to try and gut it out and play, speaks volumes. Hart feels like he's been a Knick for 10 years. He's been a Knick for a year and a half. He's already one of the more beloved Knicks of all time. I mean, DiVincenzo's incredible. Deuce McBride, I know he wasn't good yesterday, but he had a really good season, especially after the trade, stepped up earlier in this playoffs when they put him in the starting lineup before Game 5. I mean, I could talk about the Knicks for hours. What a year. Disappointing. But, I think they should be applauded. That's the bottom line. Disappointing, but it's not their fault. And anyone who tries to tell you the Knicks would not have beaten Indiana if they just had a modicum of health, come on. Indiana's not a bad team. The Knicks are a much better team if they just had OG. Purple Belt Mike up next. What's up, Mike?
Yo, I was going to talk about the Jets, but I want to talk about the Knicks, man. I honestly, I didn't want to cry when they lost because I understood, but what this team has done just for me, rooting for them, Josh Hart saying like people work 12-hour shifts like I work, relating as much as they can to us. The Knicks team is the most unifying team in this city. They are. Even if you don't, even people are calling in saying that they don't even like the Knicks, but they like the team. I love this team. I love everybody on it. I love their grit. I just, it was a sad ending, but I'm not devastated because I know we would have won probably in 5 games. It could have even been a sweep if we had Randall too, honestly. But let them talk all their game because next year we are coming. And we're not going to forget. And I know Josh Hart ain't going to forget either. So we'll see what changes we make. I don't know if maybe we get IQ back. That actually I think might be good. I don't know. We'll see. But
I don't think he's coming back. Good call, Mike. Here are the biggest questions for the Knicks. I'll probably talk about this when I'm on the Knicks flagship ESPN York 1 week from today. The biggest questions for the Knicks, first things first, is OG Anunoby. I think they're going to give him an extension. How could you not? When he plays, the Knicks were 31-6 or whatever the record was. It was insane. He's got a player option. His agent is Leon Rose's kid, Sam, who I actually met the other night and could not have been nice. Just shout out to Sam Rose. The bottom line, though, is this. You need to keep OG. And then you're limited with your cap space. They can't offer Isaiah Hartenstein the most amount of money. Can they find a way to keep him? If they can't find the money, can they trade Mitchell Robinson and get off his contract to keep Hartenstein? Because I think he's that important of a piece. and then you keep Achua as the backup center. I love Mitch, but if it's between Mitch and Hartenstein, Hartenstein's more durable and he does more. He has more of an offensive game than Mitch does. And Mitch is a great defensive player. That's just the reality. Those are the two big things the Knicks are looking at. They also have draft picks they could trade. I don't think they're star hunting. But there's going to be the question on what they do with Randall. I don't think they'll extend him, but he's got a year left. You trade him for another star? Do you see it through with this group? That's what I think they'll do, and they'll try and improve along the margins. But it's going to be fascinating. But I have a lot of faith in Leon Rose. How could you not? You could argue the Knicks are the most well-run team in the city right now. Think about that. The Knicks. I mean, it's crazy. Carly writes in, we went through years of hell as Knicks fans trying to convince ourselves Kevin Knox or Frank Ntilikina were the answer while we tanked. The dark days are over. They are long over. Knicks have been in the second round back-to-back years for the first time in 24 years. And this team has a ton of draft picks, cap space, tradable contracts. When I say cap space, it means like they could move out of these contracts. The NBA is all about, can you get off a contract? The way the CBA is set up. The Knicks can get off any of these contracts. In fact, the Knicks probably have three of the best value contracts in the NBA. Brunson's the best contract in the league. He should be making $55 million a year. He's not even close to that. Miles McBride is an unbelievable deal. And Dante DiVincenzo, shout out to Dante, man. Guy wasn't even in the rotation at the beginning of the year. Just scored 39 points in Game 7. He was their best offensive player. He showed up, him and Burks. I love Dante, man. That's my next Knick jersey. We ordered the Heart one last week. Got to get the final Nova Knick jersey before we wrap. Pittsburgh Mike, you're the last caller. What's up, Mike?
Jake, how you doing, bro?
What's up, man?
Not much, dude. That duck video from this morning, I was cracking up to it all day. I was like, dude, Scott, you're wild, bro. And also, great job on Sirius yesterday. I was gonna call in. I was running around. My wife dragged me to Target, so I was like, I can't call in. But great job. You were a natural, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you listening.
Yeah, it was awesome. So one thing that I just wanted to talk about. So last year, we all know the offense is going to be all right this year. I'm really not worried about Nathaniel Hackett at all. If you go back and look at the preseason game with Rodgers for that Giants game, like the offense moved efficiently, moved the ball down the field, ended with a touchdown. Granted, it was preseason. Totally understand that. But something I think the defense really needs to focus on this year is not giving up long rushes to these quarterbacks. We have even more quarterbacks that we're playing this year who can really move, and especially with the quarterback position being even more athletic than it has been in the past. You know, we got guys like Will Levis, Jacoby Brissett, Bo Nix, Allen twice, potentially Justin Fields, CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson. There's all these quarterbacks that could rush for big gains. And I don't mean just cumulative yards rushing. I mean these big gains on third down. You know, it happened with Patrick Mahomes last year in the Chiefs game. I mean, we can't give up those big, huge rushes to these QBs. So I think that's something that the defense can focus on this year, especially with the new hip drop tackle rule. So I'm interested to see how that plays out, but that's something I think the defense can focus on.
Yeah, look, to me, it's tough to call it like an issue because they still had one of the best defenses in the league. But if you want to take the next step, you know, these are the things you could look at how they could get even better defensively. So you're right about they play more quarterbacks who run a little bit more, but they don't play the gauntlet of quarterbacks they played last year who were just better overall quarterbacks. So I'll take this 10 times out of 10 over what they faced last year.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think all these games, I mean, looking at the schedule, I see the ceiling being 14 games for sure. I mean, we can do it. It's possible. And I think the absolute floor is 10. And
it better be.
If it comes down to these games where, it's super close and we just give up these big rushes, that could be the difference between a win and a loss. Could come down to a last second field goal. So we just got to make sure that we are able to, manage the QB. These athletic QBs, man, we gotta maintain them. But last thing I'll say, you are an epic matchmaker, dude. You are the Dana White of YouTube. We love it. So if anyone can make it to Pittsburgh, I'm going to offer some training for you. Bobby, get to Pittsburgh and I'll train you, dude. I want to see this battle between you and my boy Allen.
Let's go, man. I mean, ring the bell. Allen versus Bobby. Yeah.
Boom.
Good call, Mike. I appreciate you. For those who did not watch Allen versus Bobby today, go watch the first show. All-timer. That's why Allen's in the hole right now. We took a vote. Bobby body bagged Allen. We put Allen in the hole for 24 hours. What was Bobby's line about crap earlier, too, by the way? Someone write in the comment section right now if you're watching live. Bobby had one of the funniest insults I've ever heard to Allen. That when I launch my merch store, we'll get it on a t-shirt. Indy Jets. Jake, your thoughts on Jefferson being in Florham Park? My understanding is the Minnesota Vikings owners live in Jersey, and that's why he's there. Justin Jefferson's not being traded to the Jets. Save this tape and expose me if it happens. I would love to be wrong. I don't see it. Tom says, with the Tom Brady roast, should we do a Jake Asman celebrity roast of Allen? Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Sign me up, Tom. You got to be one of the writers, though. You're probably one of our wittiest commenters. How are you not a channel member yet? I don't understand how. You must not have gift receipts turned on. That's the only explanation. Unreal. Peter Castro, we could beat anyone, anytime, or place. I hope you're right. Tom says, I couldn't figure out the settings the other day. Yeah, I figured. Someone help out Tom here. Here, I got a link for you, Tom. I'm going to post it in the chat right now. Here's how you could purchase channel memberships for other listeners, and here's how you can receive purchased memberships from other listeners. There you go. Hopefully that link works. All right. On that note, that's going to do it for me. I want to thank everyone who took time to watch today's show. Watch the other one if you missed it. Tomorrow, we are stacked. Jets OTAs open to the media. Joining me tomorrow at 11 a.m. is Mike Clay, the ESPN analyst who's predicting the Jets to win the Super Bowl. He starts us off. And then in the afternoon, Robbie Sabo from JetsXFactor.com is coming on the show to react to his takeaways from OTA day one open to the media. They actually practiced today, but tomorrow's the first practice that's open for the media to actually watch. So we'll get Robbie's observations from Florham Park tomorrow. So we're stacked. We're loaded. Thank you all for the support. The content won't change. It will only get better. We'll bring on fresh voices. We'll take more calls. We'll have more battle royales. We'll send more people to the Shadow Realm, Stupid Town, or now the Hole. You guys make the show what it is, and I could not do it without you. So I can't say this enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your incredible support. And once again, hit the like button on your way out of here. My name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Show. I'll talk to you guys soon. JETS, 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 Jets. We are live. It is the start of our NFL Draft Mega Cast. Can we give a huge shout out to listener Will Collins, who made it to Detroit with a Knoble sign, baby. Coach Salah's brother's here. How's it going? How long is that cigar? My God.
I'm going to hug him so tight his cigar's going to end up in my mouth.
We should check in with Kevin James and ask what he thinks they will do.
I have no idea. I'm the king of Queens.
Vegas, baby. Reebok. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Mango. What's up, Nick?
How we doing, Jake?
Yeah! Olu Fashanu from Penn State.
Now, I have some stuff, though. Batiaris, do you see him going, or do you see Knoble going? Because I think he has a chance to get drafted tomorrow. You have Batiaris. The Jets drafted somebody tonight also.
But who's Batiaris?
He's out of college.
Say hello to Gator. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun.
You made a very good boy.
I had something to do it, at least for 3 minutes.
All right. We're good.
Hey, Charles, I'm going to do an impersonation now. You want to hear it? Listen.
Go ahead. Is that a me?
Who am I?
You gotta do all these. Me?
What Puerto Rican spirit should I drink tonight here in Vegas?
Ronda Barlito.
I can't roll my R's that way, so I don't even know how to spell that. I posted a picture. Great to get dinner with Kevin James last night, and my mom thinks it's real. I haven't told her it's not. Wayne Corbett. Wayne, thanks so much for the time tonight, my friend. We got a Jet fan who's watching our Medicast, and look what jersey he's wearing.
Dude, he's worn that a couple times.
Yeah.
Michael Lasso.
Came back from work, and I always wear this underneath my suit. I always got the Rodgers jersey
Let's
on.
go.
So, you know what I mean?
Gary, what happened?
No, my headphones, everything. I knocked everything over. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you, Gary. Jets are moving up.
Yeah! There we go! Let's go! There we go, boys.
Watch this guy's highlight tape. Is he awake? V-Man, wake up.
What's up? What's up?
Well, hello there, Jake.
Can you say Bruce Hall?
Really? Bruce Hall.
A new segment we introduced called Bobby Reads the Super Chats.
I brought my girlfriend home to meet my family. Everyone likes her except my wife. Oh, crap.
A lot of times when Joe Douglas makes wild moves, we hit the Joe Douglas music.
I love this show, man.
Can you make that sound effect again, Charles?
I know it sounds dirty. I'm sorry.
I wasn't going there. Jesus.
Wow, eating out tonight. All right.
Actually, oh, come on.
Look at this tweet that I just got from VR, who's a great listener to our show. I want to thank my man right here, Gator McCluskey, for his excellent work in helping us have unbelievable graphics, commercial breaks, everything you saw on screen. This man built, and we owe it all to the great Gator McCluskey. JETS, Jets. Have a good one, everybody.